Today we're going to be using proportions, but specifically to solve percent problems. And again, this might be a little bit of a review for you. You might remember the setup where it is the percent always goes over 100, and then you set it equal to is over of. And this thing here is the really important thing to remember. This is the number that follows of. The number that follows the word of, whatever of what, always goes on the bottom. The of is the out of portion, and percent is out of 100. So when we think of setting that up, we're trying to set up the percent total out of 100, and the value, this is an is, not a 15, an is over of. The is the one that's a little bit tricky to find. Sometimes we don't see it necessarily in the problem. Sometimes it comes before is, sometimes it comes after is, but the one thing I know is that the of will always follow of, and the percent number will always be over 100. So then you set that up and make your proportion and solve. So for this next problem, it's 51 is what percent of 67? So the percent goes over 100, but because it's what percent, I don't know what it is. The of is 67, and that remaining number around the word is goes up on the top. And then we can just do our cross products. And because these are nice numbers, I can do it the quick way. Remember when we had the multiple variables in there, we had to maybe solve an equation or more complicated. But for these, I can just do the two diagonal, 51 times 100, divided by 67, and that'll get my answer. So I just plug that into my calculator and get my final answer. So I'm just pulling up my calculator. I can do the calculator on my phone. It doesn't have to be real fancy to do these problems. So it was 51 times 100 divided by 67. Hit equals. It's going to be kind of an icky, oops, gotta show you that. It's going to be kind of an icky number. I gotta plug that in again. That seems really wrong for me, so I might have hit it wrong. So it's 51 times 100 divided by 67. That looks more like it. So 76, just go maybe tenths-ish, so 76.1-ish. You don't have to obviously put all those decimals, so 76.1. Because I was looking for the percent, I put my answer as a percent. If I'm not looking for the percent, then I don't put a percent after my answer. It's just a regular number. So I can only have 1% in the problem. So this next one is, what percent of 146.7 is 63? Again, the what percent what over 100 is, this is the part that's tricky. The number that follows of always has to go on the bottom, and then the remaining number would go in the other position. So I'm going to do 63 times 100. Oops. Clear. 63 times 100 divided by 146.7. A lot of times people ask me, well, how do I know which ones I multiply and which ones I divide? We'll call this 42.9. Remember, the two numbers that are diagonal get multiplied. The one that's across from the letter will be the one you divide by. So this would be 63 times 100 divided by 146.7. Okay? Now, they're not always going to be missing a percent, so sometimes it's going to be missing the is part, sometimes it's going to be missing the of part, and that's where we have to kind of set up or work through and figure out what's what. So I always look for the percent first. 8 is 12% of what? So 12 over 100. And then the number that follows of is the missing this time. So the 8 is the one on top. So now the two diagonals are 8 times 100 divided by 12. That goes in my calculator. 8 times 100 divided by 12 equals 66.6. Repeating is what I got, or 66.7 you could write it as. Notice that oops, I should have put this one up here as a percent because I was missing the percent, but this one I don't put a percent after because I have the percent. I only have 1% problem in a problem, okay? So again, the percent over 100, that's why I always put the percent part first because it's usually the easiest thing to find. The number that follows of goes on the bottom. That's the one I don't know. The remaining number goes on the top. So this would be 30 times 100 divided by 67. So 30 times 100 divided by 67. And I get 44.77, so let's call this 44.8-ish is good enough. And again, I already have a percent, no percent in my answer. Only when I'm missing a percent do I put a percent in the answer. And so next up we have, what is 380% of 74? So my percent, 380, goes over 100. The number that follows of goes on the bottom. The remaining number, the one by the is missing. That's the missing part now. So now this is 380 times 74 divided by 100. I divide by the number that's across from the variable. So this is 380 times 74 divided by 100. I get 281.2. 281.2. Not percent, because I already have a percent. And so the last problem we're going to run through, same kind of thing. What is 81% of 15? The percent over 100. 15 goes on the bottom because that's after of, missing the is part of it. 81 times 15 divided by 100. So 81 times 15 divided by 100. 12.15. That one was a small one, so I'm just going to write it as 12.15. I don't need to round on that one. So that is about it. Please just make sure you put the setup in the right spot. Percent over 100 is over of. The places that are easiest to fill are the percent, obviously. That's very obvious. It follows either the word percent or the percent sign. And then the of, the number that follows of, always goes on the bottom, and then it's just doing a proportion. Good luck. Tomorrow you'll do a review. Friday you'll be just a quick quiz. Have a great day.